war machine for it. Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
I'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, another episode of The War Room. And this time, obviously, it's very topical. The first time wasn't as topical because it was just a bunch of fans talking about the VSQ and their passion for that. Check out the channel. All 5 debates are on there right now. But this one is Scream. With the release of Scream 6 that just came out, we decided that we want to gather 4 super fans of the Scream franchise, and we're going to debate that. Just a reminder of how it goes. Everyone wrote their own question, and as well as a main event question. So 5 total questions. This is part 1. So we'll get into the specifics of what the questions are after. Obviously, if you clicked on this video, you have the questions on there on the screen. But with that said, I'm actually competing in this one, so I'm Henry Confidential. I'm excited for this. I love the Scream franchise. The very first Scream movie is like one of my favorite movies of all time, and then all the other ones are very high up there for me. So just a little behind the scenes thing. John is the main host for this, and he's the one who wrote question number 5, but he is doing something, so we're buying him time because it's a little longer of a thing, so we're not just going to wait too long. So with that said, I'm going to introduce player number 1, Jordan Pierce Owens. You were in the very first War Room. Well, technically the second War Room, but the first of this format, View Askew. What are your thoughts on the Scream franchise, and what are your thoughts on just generally speaking how these questions turned out?
Yeah, it just happened to be the first 2 War Rooms here, things that I really love here. So, in future, I'll maybe be a host or a watcher. But I love Scream 2. It's kind of one of my first maybe major watches as far as horror, because there's no boobies in it. So my mom said, fine, you can watch it. And I say true, no boobs in Scream. And I love the franchise. Looking forward to these questions, see where everyone falls, and seeing what the judges think.
Absolutely. All right. Our next player, he was in the very technical first War Room that we did a little different format. Chad, you're a big debater now to this day, and you have built a lot of experience. And I gave you a quick rundown of the format, but as a JPO can attest to that, once you get into the flow of things, it'll make more sense just in it. But what are your thoughts on the Scream franchise as a whole, and what are your thoughts generally on these questions?
Yeah, no, the Scream franchise, it's I cite it as the horror franchise that got me into horror. So I love it to death. I love watching it with friends and showing it to new people and stuff like that. So yeah, watching it every single year. It's just one of the most fun franchises, one of the most consistent franchises that you can have in horror. And I'm just sitting there thinking, like, I don't think there's another franchise that really tops this one as far as like overall quality. So, yeah, I adore it to death. As far as the questions, we all wrote some pretty fun questions, pretty interesting ones. It goes deeper than just what's the best Scream movie, what's the worst Scream. So it's like a little bit deeper than that, and actually gets into like the nitty gritty of what makes this franchise great. So, everybody has some pretty awesome answers. So I'm excited to fight them. And it's a Scream, baby.
Exactly. And just to kind of follow up on that, the difference of these types of questions, it's less about pooping on your opponent's answers more than just praising yours and just kind of ranking of like, mine's better, yours is just not as good. So it makes it a little less attacking your own favorite thing versus just propping up your personal answer. So that's why I like that. No one really crapped on anything within the View Askew in the first episode, so that was a joy. And then we're going to go into our final debater of tonight, a person who doesn't really like debating, but he loves his franchise, so I was able to twist his arm a little bit. Mesa, as we kind of talk behind the scenes, this is less debate per se in the typical fashion, more of a podcast form. Obviously, there's stakes involved in terms of winning and losing, but not necessarily, it's not as competitive in terms of like being aggressive or, like I said, pooping on other answers more than just propping up your own answer. So what are your thoughts on just these questions in general? And obviously you love the Scream franchise, so I was able to get you here, but what are your thoughts?
Damn, we're debating. I was ready to defend my ASAT title. Shit. All right. No, man. Like I told you, I'm not a real master debater here. So, it's just a matter of just trying to defend my choice and not trying to talk shit about against anybody. My personal weakness is talking shit, so I can't really do that. And I'm going to do my best to defend my choices to the death. And hopefully the judges can reflect on what I said and, give me some of the points for me to win. Though I'm not here to win any points. I'm just here to have fun, as per Dia's quota, to just see what kind of mess I got myself into. So I'm about to find out very soon.
Absolutely. So with that said, we are going to cut into John being here right now.
So you've met all the competitors. We're going to jump right into the debate with our first question that was submitted by Mr. Steve Mesa. And the question is, in the entire Scream franchise, excluding the new release, what is the most brutal kill that we see? And we'll start with Mr. Steve Mesa himself.
So just because it looks cool, it's going to be you'll be on there, John, just because you'll do the count. You'll do our hand things of when we have like 5 seconds, 10 seconds. You can do 10 and 5, so we're not just completely cut off.
I should probably get a timer. Give me a second.
Well, it's at the top, so it's either whatever's.
I can do it off the top. Perfect. Sounds good. All right.
So we're gonna do this side view. So this side view. So.
All right.
Yeah, it's easy to just flow. So if you're big screen, you're up.
Yeah. All right.
So yeah, whenever you're ready, Steve, you have 1 minute.
All right. The Scream franchise is all about, people getting gutted, knifed, stabbed, all that shit. Even there was a franchise even called Stab It within that universe. But I think the most brutal kill has to be the double tap shot in both heads by Trevor, because I getting shot in the nuts has to be pain, and let alone having your ex-girlfriend slowly getting ready to pull the trigger out your head, and you're helpless and still holding your nuts in your hand. You're helpless, man. That's why I consider it the most brutal kill of all the franchise.
Okay. Thank you, Steve. Up next with his pick for the most brutal kill in the Scream franchise, Mr. Jordan Pierce Owens. Whenever you're ready.
That is me. When you go for brutal, I'm not only talking about brutal as in literally the gore and like the violence of it. I'm talking about brutal as in your heart. And they easily got to go with Dewey from number 5 rather. I'm sorry, Scream 5, Scream 2022. Not only are you, of course, in love with this character here, this guy has survived a lot from the second to the third movie. In the first movie, you kind of think he might be dead. Thumbs up. This movie had to show you that there's going to be absolutely no thumbs up from your favorite character, the one with the most heart, the one that has the most genuine person in the cast, and that is Dewey. Not only do they stab him, they fucking rip him up. They tell him it's an honor. You are there, and you're going, wow, they finally pulled the trigger that I didn't think they were going to do. I didn't think they were going to kill that main set that we knew from the first movie, but they did it. It was brutal on screen. God damn, was it brutal in your heart. Dewey from Scream 5. John, I concede my last 5 seconds.
Going third with his choice is Chad Webb. Whenever you're ready, Chad.
Yeah, with this one, I chose Maureen Evans from Scream 2. Going with Scream 2, we had to have an opening kill that was, I don't want to say necessarily better, not as iconic as the original, but it goes bigger, bloodier. And the thing with Maureen is that she has like a lot of different factors that makes this a very brutal kill. And the most brutal kill in the franchise is that it's very public. She has to amble away from who she thought was her boyfriend getting stabbed by a complete stranger sitting next to her. She's cuddling up. She didn't actually even want to be there. So like ambling away, getting stabbed as she's walking away, trying to get away, but she's in so much pain, so much she's scared, she's confused. She doesn't know what the hell's going on because she's not even really in this whole thing. So, and the performance from Jada Pinkett Smith, crashing dead on the stage. This is really the most brutal kill because you really feel
and
it.
Last but not least, trying to be confidential. Whenever you're ready, you got a minute.
So I have the luxury of picking the most brutal kill of the franchise. It's also the very first kill of the franchise, and as Casey Becker, well, technically second, but we're not going to get into that this night. The first big one. But anyway, Casey Becker's death in this film is the most brutal of the entire franchise because of kind of a duality of reasons. A, what we see on screen, but also B, the logistics of the actual kill in terms of the surroundings. She's being chased around. It's super scary. There's no, history of what's gone on before, so there's no precedent set before, so everything in Casey's mind is even more scarier. What we got from the actual killing of her being stabbed and being chased around and just the mental torture that she was going through, that's brutal in itself, but the actual stabbing of what's happening, but the brutality of it is also the fact that her parents can hear her screaming or kind of like her moaning or kind of whatever on the phone. So the fact that her parents can literally hear their daughter being killed, and then the reveal of her being found hung up on the tree is the most, oddly saying, the satisfying kill of it all, because it is just chef's kiss.
Time. Sure, Henry explained the rules beforehand, but now we're going to go into our little round robin where everyone's going to have a minute each, twice. We're going to go around twice, 1 minute apiece, in building their arguments and tearing down their opponent's arguments. We will start with Mr. Steve Mesa. Whenever you're ready, sir.
I'm not here to tear down arguments, but if I'm going to defend my kill, I'm going to say, yes, the simplicity of a gunshot is unoriginal to some people, especially in the Scream universe. But the fact that you just have all these people be just being set up for this guy to be the Neil Prescott in this remake, being Trevor in that case, or Billy or Stu or whoever in that case is. But I understand Chad's points of having Maury Evans, but then again, I have the bias of not liking Jada Pinkett Smith. So, the bias of not liking Jada Pinkett Smith, like, yes, go kill her. So I didn't even like her before then. So that was even before all this Will Smith started happening. Henry's, I understand his is the iconic. That's the easy. In my opinion, that's probably the easily favorite and probably might be the winner on that one. And Dewey, of course, you attack the hardest franchise is going to be really hard to do. But I think getting hit in double tap shot is going to be the most brutal of all.
All right, JPO, you're up when you're ready.
I'm sure as one of the several men here, yes, being shot in the dick is definitely a fear of ours. Don't mess with RoboCop. But here's the thing. It's also kind of done very quick. He gets shot in the dick. Not too much later, he's dead. And it's just very quick. They don't really linger on it. And so that's why I never really think about him. Plus also, I know I don't want to hark on the heart thing. No one gives a shit about Trevor. When you said his character name, I had to double check to see which character that was. So yeah, I don't feel like the heart's there by any means here. Maureen from the second one here. First of all, how dare you even say her name? You're going to get slapped. But, it's again, it's a fun opening sequence here. It's another character that we're not really, what's going to happen because you've seen what happened from Casey, so you kind of already know what's going to happen here. It's an interesting setup, but at the same time, you're waiting for her to die here, and I'll get more to it here later because we don't have much time to talk about.
And time, Chad, take it over.
Yeah, I'm actually going to mirror everything Jordan said about Trevor. You don't really care about that character. It's over very quick, and it's using a gun. I feel like the more brutal is often the knife, and so that's why three of us picked that. And then with Jordan's, you say Trevor's over too quick. I think Dewey's over really quick. As soon as he gets really cut up the middle, done. You don't really have him anymore. But yeah, it is a little bit brutal because you love that character. But I feel like it was a long time coming, and it's not that big of a deal. And then with Henry's, you kind of see Henry's a little bit in mine in the background, and you get to compare a little bit and see just how more brutal mine is when they're kind of staging the pre-Casey stuff. But with Maureen, the biggest thing is she has an entire crowd watching her die. She dies because her name is Maureen, and she never gets that closure of actually knowing who killed her. And every other one of these victims do. So yeah, it's the most
time. Henry, you're up.
So I'm going to touch on what Chad just said of kind of how his mirrors mine, but the difference of that is that you said you see mine in the background because it's actually remade because of the legacy that it had within the story as well as the actual movies itself. Whereas in yours, no one talks about it again other than just kind of within that actual story, but it's kind of just a pushover with that. Unfortunately, we all love Dewey, but it's one of those things in terms of the brutality of the kill. It's done so quickly. It's literally done, spoiler alert, by Amber, who's just a tiny girl. So the fact that she was able to kill Dewey just showcases showcases that the brutality of it is not quite there. He's already been stabbed 47,000 times the entire franchise, so obviously he was already weak in its own right. The fact that he's not in a wheelchair of that, I wouldn't be surprised if he was the uncle in Breaking Bad, where just clicking the bell the entire time because of just how many times he's been stabbed. Unfortunately, everything with Mesa's kill, it's one of those things that, like they said, we don't care about the character, and the gunshot just doesn't really hit the home. And even honestly, everything with Emma Roberts' character, we don't even care about her as much. So the fact that she did it just doesn't have the satisfaction of the actual kill itself. So everything about it is just unfortunately the least memorable, let alone not brutal.
Right, and we're back over to Steve.
And just a reminder for everyone. So now that you already did your one, if you're tearing down, now use this minute to kind of however you want. Now that the judges kind of have an opinion of, we did our pro and our con. So now just at this point, however you want to focus on. So the equality of our debates. So just so you know.
So it's not just getting shot in the dick and getting shot in the head that's brutal. It's also knowing that this girl never really liked you in the first place. It's just the fact that you're getting your metaphorical heart ripped out while getting your dick blown away and your brain splattered all over the kitchen floor. I mean, yes, getting stabbed is fucking brutal. But again, I'm going to call it the triple shot, because boom, right in the heart, metaphorically. Dick, head, come on, guys. I mean, yes, I understand it's unmemorable, but shit, that's hard to watch. Even me watching it watching 3 and 4 over 10 times, it's still hard to fucking watch that shit.
Okay, JPO.
Well, it is brutal in real life. It's also kind of comical, Steve. Jordan Peele made an entire song about getting shot in the dick. It's kind of funny when it happens here, because one, you kind of have so little developed in that character that you're totally fine when it happens, and then he's dead a little bit later, so you're kind of fine, you move on. Marine, you're even you're in the moment, but again, not in a totally scared way. You're kind of enjoying it because it's an interesting setup here, and you're like, oh, these people have no idea. It's smart, it's a little on the nose, and it's fun. And again, it's not a character. It's not necessarily, she gets stabbed just like anyone, but it's not necessarily any more brutal of a stabbing than we've seen in any other Scream here. Mine here, man, for Dewey to go back and harp on him, man, you do linger. They do linger when it's not just, it's, I know I have to do more because this dude seems to survive. This dude has luck on his side. I need to do more to secure that victory. And they do that, man. And they go through it. First of all, you say it's that one chick. We'll see in Scream 7, all right? You know what I'm talking about? But they linger on it, man. You're there, and your heart lingers on it, too,
Chad,
knowing that he's not going to
JPO time.
No, I mean, you definitely linger on mine and Casey's more than you linger on the other two. You know, and yeah, you know, we all kind of knew something was going to come with Dewey, so it really doesn't affect you as much as you think it might. But yeah, Jada Pinkett is the best actor in all of these victims, and she sells that scene from the moment she's stabbed in the seat to the moment she falls dead on the stage, cold, glazed over eyes. It's just like, you know, her performance really sells that. And I don't think any of the other ones do as much. You know, all of these kills are brutal. All these kills have some sort of heart in it. But, you know, Maureen Evans really sells this with the performance, with everybody staring at her. She died because her name is Maureen, and, you know, nobody could help her as she's trying to get away. And, you know, that's why, you know, as she's trying to get away, she keeps getting stabbed over and over and over, and she's got nowhere to go. And so the panic, the confusion, yeah, it's a brilliant kill.
All right. And Henry, close us out for this round.
So as we've all talked about the actual logistics of the kills, the brutality, use that how you want in terms of what's more brutal or not. But I'm going to go into the emotion and just get the impact within the story. We all have agreed that Trevor's is the least impactful on the brutality there, just because not only does no one within that room actually care about him, but also us as an audience doesn't care about him. Next up, I'll go over to JPO's kill. Even though us as an audience, we truly love Dewey, no one that was in that room actually cares about him. We have Richie and Amber who are fans of him, but obviously they're doing the killing, so that's not as there. And then we have Tara and Samantha that just met him literally within the last day or so. So like they don't actually have any emotional impact to him other than legacy. And everything with Maureen Evans, literally until it's actually revealed that she's killed, everyone is literally doing the stabbing motions, and the fans, so they're all thinking it's a bit. They're literally acting like it's like a scary movie, you know, rip-off parody, Mad TV type of deal. So no one really cares about that. So we're talking about the logistics of the scene, of all the surroundings. It just doesn't have the brutality. Whereas Casey Becker is literally being, you know, witnessed by her parents, both physically when they see her on the tree, but also on the phone, and it's just brutal.
Time. All right, we're going to go into closing arguments. One final minute to wrap it up, and we're back over to Steve. Steve, whenever you're ready.
Okay, so I just found it comical. I just realized how funny this death was, because this guy cock blocked Charlie and Kirby, and then his cock got blocked by a fucking bullet and to the head on the kitchen floor. And while he might have deserved it for doing that heinous act of stopping Kirby and Charlie getting it on the couch of her living room, but I totally understand why everybody finds it the most unmemorable part. But I will never, ever forget the performance of one Nico Tortorella as Trevor Sheldon in Scream 4, 2011.
Okay. JPO.
For you to say everyone saw Dewey's kill coming in the fifth one, that's just you being cynical and playing the hindsight game here. You know what everyone said in Scream 4? Dewey's definitely going to die in Scream 4. You know, they're going to do that. They didn't pull that trigger. Scream 5 is when they finally pull that trigger to show you that they're not fucking around, and they kill the heart of the franchise here. And you say no one cares about him in that room? Guess who's calling him Gail? One of the best relationships, the best relationship we've had in this entire franchise is finally put in their final notice here on that, when she's calling him to check on him because she's worried about him, because she knows that he's the kind of guy that's going to go in whether he has a chance to win or not, limping from all the time that he's been hurt before, but he's putting his heart and his body on the line in order to save those kids here. Maybe those kids don't know him as well as they could have, but he's still willing to put his life on the line here. So when he finally gets taken down, and it's an honor, you feel it as the crowd more than any of these other people here that you're either meeting for the first time or they sure as hell don't give a shit about, and you love to see them get shot in the collywhacker. That's Venus.
Go ahead, Chad.
Look, yeah, Maureen, you're introduced to her, and immediately she's killed about a few minutes into the actual scene, but that performance really sells this kill because you're following her, from, not wanting to be there at all to finally starting to enjoy the film, to slowly crawling away from her attacker, who she thought was her boyfriend. And so, when you see the look of fear and confusion on her face as she drops dead, you can't help but be exactly like those people in the audience, just like confused about what, why? And that's exactly what she felt, is just straight up confusion, not knowing what's going on, who killed her. And she died just because her name is Maureen. I keep repeating that because it's literally, the weirdest reason why someone died. Everyone else kind of had a hand. Trevor annoyed, Jill. Dewey went back. He shouldn't have went back. And then Casey, I guess she didn't really have a hand, but at least she got closure and seeing the fake killer.
And Henry, your final minute, whenever you're ready.
So I'm not going to use my last minute kind of knocking all them, because not only have I been able to knock them, but they've all been to knock each other. But unfortunately for them, none of them has really been able to knock Casey's death, because it is the most brutal, both physically, but also just the surroundings of the entire scenario. Literally, it is, out of all these, it is the only one that is a cat and mouse game. So not only are we fearing as an audience, but she is the most fearing, because it is going on for long time, literally dealing this for like 5-10 minutes of actual cat and mouse stuff, whereas the Dewey stuff is literally like that. The Trevor is just like that, and by time with the actual Marine thing, it's pretty much just like that. Casey's is the longest and it's also the most fearing. What we see on screen, literally her being stabbed multiple times, she got choked, so she literally on the phone, mom, dad, and the mom and dad actually being able to hear it and before they were actually witnessing her hanging from the tree. It is the most brutal in all facets of the entire world. And a little behind the scenes thing, I'm shocked that this was the first pick for this question, because it is the easiest answer, because you can't really knock it. And when you're actually watching this, it sets the tone for the franchise. And it's one of the few times I'll ever say it is the first, but it also is the best, because it sets the precedent hands down.
Okay. So then now judges will deliberate. You will score each person's performance at a scale of, is it 0 to 10 or 1 to 10, Henry?
I mean, if someone got a 0, then it's technically 0 to 10, but yes.
God damn.
It technically can't be 0 to 10.
So we will deliberate and we'll give our scores whenever you guys are ready.
I'm going to stab myself if I get a 0.
So I'm going to remove the players and then just bring the judges on, and then you guys talk. And then, so I'll stay on here just so we'll have that. But all right, so you guys can deliberate and then reveal your guys' score. So we'll start with John as the host, then we'll go Tato, and then Jacob.
I'm still scoring.
Well, yeah, you guys deliberate, because it's editing, so I'll edit. So if you guys need a minute, because you're a host, so I know it's harder for you. But the other, so you want me to start with one of them then, since you were.
Well, I can throw it over to them. Like, so we'll just take you guys. Let me know when you're ready, and then we'll just Henry will just naturally edit into this part. So you guys let me know when your scores are ready.
I am locked.
All right, Jacob, you let me know when you're locked.
I think I'm good.
Okay, and then once again, just kind of talk about it, and then reveal from bottom to best, just to kind of have a little conversation of it. And then obviously, don't go on for 22 minutes, but also don't feel like you need to go on whatever, because it is a episodic thing. So, Tato, I guess you can go first. So,
Okay, since this is the scorecard, let's go to the judges. Tato, how do you score this match?
Alrighty. Last place for me, unfortunately, was Mesa. It's just everyone dumped all over him. He didn't really stand a chance with that one going on. I got the brutality of it, but he got 4 points from me on that. Just because he just had a shit show to fight through. It's unfortunate. Going into third, I have Chad. He started off hot, but then kind of he acknowledged it himself, got a little repetitive. But he was still pretty good. I liked his barb that he threw at Henry about like you can see mine is more brutal by comparison, literally. So Chad gets 6.5 from me on that one. JPO coming in second. The heart, like the way they lingering, he was able to counteract people not caring by pointing out that Gale called him and was there to care. Yeah, then the heart is really what did it. So 7.5 for JPO. And then Henry victorious on this situation. He was right. No one really threw anything at him except that one barb that Chad threw. And just the visual aspect, the logistics aspect of it, her parents hearing her die, that's super brutal. So Henry 8.5.
All right. And we'll go from Jacob to Jacob. Jacob.
Yeah, I guess
I
I'm
like to categorically state that I'm not a Jacob.
We'll go from Jake to Jacob.
I guess I'm more easily impressed than Tato is because, but I know in last place I also had Steve much for the same reasons that Tato mentioned, but I did give him a 5 because I like when people just admit that this one's not my debate, and so props to Steve for realizing that. So I didn't want to go completely negative on him, so good on you for recognizing that this was just a lost cause and you had fun with it. So 5 out of 10. And I actually I have JPO in third. I think he sold me in the beginning just like with the brutality, like not only of the kill but like how it makes the audience feel. But then it was torn down enough, and I don't think he did just enough to get back up into like that second or first for me. I think he did a really good job. I gave him an 8 out of 10. Chad would be second for me. I think he really sold like the brutality of the kill and how Maureen was crawling away and she's just in this room full of people who are imitating, like no one's helping her and imitating the stab, and like that can be brutal that you're in a room full of people and no one's helping you. So I have him at an 8.5, and then Henry took this for me, because nobody really knocked him, and he did a really good job of selling the kill, selling the brutality, like with the phone call, and so I gave him a 9 out of 10.
All right, my score is eerily similar to Mr. Jacob Barber's. I do have Steve in last with 5 points. Basically, no real new notes on this, just kind of like not utilizing all of his time, just a lot of repetitive stuff. Shot in the dick. I heard that about 20 times. I got you the first time that you said shot in the dick. And third, I had Chad. I like Jacob said, it did get a little repetitive at the end. I did hear that she got killed because of her name, which nobody was really picking up on, and I think you could have ran with that and done something with it, but it's just a lot of the points just kind of hung there. Then I had JPO in second. Chad at 8, JPO in second. I do think yes, the brutality can be described in multiple ways, both physically brutal and emotionally brutal. I think that was a good selling point of his argument. I had him at 8.5, and Henry the winner with 9. Again, it is an iconic kill. It does linger on it, and just like everybody else said, not much was done to detract from that. It is an iconic brutal kill. So that's that. Those are the scores. Let's go on to the second question if these gentlemen are ready.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do, I'm editing the score real quick just so I'll have it on screen. And then what you'll do is you'll kind of transition into the second question because that's how I'll end the video and then go into the next one. So it's like a cliffhanger of like, hey, and then part 2 is here, blah, blah, blah. So the
score is going to be on the screen at the end, and I'll just say the score. And then
I'll show you. So let me update that real quick.
All right.
I didn't set a banner for it, so I actually have to type.
Are these like cumulative scores? Like your scores get added up each round?
Oh, no, not the entire score. Just I won the round, and then that is just that.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. With this one was easy math. It was just clearly me on this one, so we didn't have to usually
no math.
Yeah. On the other one later, I have a feeling that there's actually have to be math, so I have to add them up and all stuff. But I was doing that. I wrote them all down because I was ready to do the math. I just with this one I just didn't have to. But on the other ones, I know I'm going to have to. So yeah, this is just the round scores.
Yeah, this is the first one ever where math did not have to be involved. It was involved in everyone on the view.
Yeah, literally. The other one, the closest one was literally a 0.2 or something difference. But yeah, there was always enough where it was like a 0.5 or something to distinguish the winner. All right, so that's going to be on the bottom. I'll go back out, and then you can kind of transition into the next question, reveal the question, and then I'll bring all the players back in.
All right, so we do have Henry taking that round one. We're going to move on to our second question, which was submitted by Chad. One of the cornerstones of the Scream franchise is, it is a slasher movie, but it is also at heart a whodunit. So they do treat it like a mystery, and what mystery would be complete without red herrings? So we're going to identify, each one of these guys has identified a plot point that's a red herring, and they want to know what's the best red herring that's used in the Scream franchise.